looking at the fiasco stimulus package. We will be looking at the shortage of Liberian dollar again on the Liberian market. We want to know whether the finance minister Samuel Tuer is up to the task. We want to look at the recent reshuffle. Did I even pass the smell test? Well, we also heard about a pending protest coming from the CPP. What are they up to? Are they trying to stand like, man, this time? Hey, let's get started, but we can't get started without getting to know you just a little bit. For those of you who don't know, Moncio Kpadeh, he is the leader of the One People Revolutionary Movement. He is a leader. He is a politician. He is a writer. He is peace expert. He is an economist also, and that is why we are always happy to have him because he comes to the topics or to the issues from different perspectives, and he can be so diversified in his thoughts, and that is why he's here. But Rabo, let's forget about your academic credentials. Those are very impressive. But the one I want my people to know, your name, Moncio. Tell me about it.
Well, so you see, you see, I come from a bio tribal background. My father comes from Lofa, originates from Lofa. He's a Lama man. My mother comes from the southeast. My mother is a combination of two tribes, Gribble and Bassa. Originally, her father is a Gribble man, and then the mother is a Bassa woman. So she is a Kwa woman. The name Moncio is a Kwa name, a Southeastern name. It means hero. It means our fighter, the one that will stand by us, the one we can look to. All right. And so that's a name given to me by my great-great-grandfather, who, of course, was a warrior. But it's a name given to warrior, given to honorable people. I mean, people who standing, who fight for the people, who stand up for the people, who put emphasis on the blood of the people. So, in short, the name is heroism. It's a hero that the people look to and the people can rely on. Moncio. So it means this is the man that will be with us, that will stand by us in tough times, in trials and tribulations. This is the man, the one we can call our own and we can rely on, and he will stand by us and fight for us, tooth and nail. So that's the meaning of the name.
Thank you. I love that name, and Rabbi, you are quite right there. That is southeastern enough. That name, from that section of southeast that I come from, the interpretation you gave is exactly what it is. But let me give you my context from the southern side of the southeast.
Okay.
In southern, when we say Moncio, it's like the one who is supreme. That's why it means in southern crew, Moncio, the one who is supreme, the one who is always on top, the one who captures, the one who subdues. That's what it is. So I can relate to that name traditionally. So, but then the name Kpadeh, before I can bring you in on that one, in my Southern crew, Kpadeh is the one who carries, the carrier. That's why it means, when you pronounce the name Kpadeh in Southern crew, say the one who carries the load. So what does Kpadeh mean to you from your other side?
Well, so from the Loma belt, it's actually pronounced as Kpadeh.
Okay, Kpadeh.
All right. So in grammar, you pronounce it as Kpadeh. And the meaning of that name, it means gun. So it also associated with warrior. So Kpadeh in Loma people will say Kpadeh. It means gun.
Right.
So firepower. It means firepower. And so that's the meaning of that name.
Yeah.
And of course the Kwa people will say the one who carries, the thing, who carries the load, the one, Kpadeh, the one who carries the thing.
Right.
The lot of people call it, they say Kpadeh, it's a Kpadeh, they say Kpadeh, and Kpadeh means gun. It means firepower, So that's the meaning of that name. And that's my surname. That's the name of my father, and my great grandfather and grandfather from the Fatana uncle.
Thank you so very much. And to you, my
listener, I'm squarely a traditional man.
A traditional man. And I am also a traditional man. My niece here, it means good. And so
Okay.
I strive every day to be a good man. So I have a question for you,
Mm-hmm.
Moncio, and then Kpadeh.
Mm-hmm.
Are you striving to live the meaning of those names?
Well, I think so. And again, only the public can be the judge. But I
Okay.
know I'm a very I'm a very uh, strong person.
Mm-hmm.
I know I stand up for social justice. I
Mm-hmm.
know I have no fear, no ounce of fear in my blood. I know I face my fear. I know I conquer. I know no one scare me into panic. No one scare me into silence.
Mm-hmm.
I see the truth, and I speak the truth to power.
Mm-hmm.
I also know that I am a generous man. I know I'm a kind man. I know I respect everybody. I know I put emphasis on humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is that I surrender my talents, I surrender my strength and my energy to advancing humanity. So I show respect to people. And part of what I do is to stand up when I see injustice, to shout at injustice, to slam injustice, to rebuke it, and call out those who commit it. That's what I do. I've been doing that for many years. I started as a cop reporter, as a radical reporter. Then I became an editor in this country. I faced President Taylor along with Dolphus Kanuan, Philip Moore, Moses, all the guys. Went to prison for that, standing for press freedom in this country. So for the last 25 years, all right, I have been standing firm, standing very unyielding, very unbending, and fighting for democracy, fighting for rights, resisting a plunder and loot of our resources, all
Okay.
right, and calling out the perpetrators of evil. That's me, and that's what I've been doing.
Thank you.
So I'm not a Johnny just come when we talk about the politics of this country or the civil liberties of this country and this history of press freedom. I have been there. I've written, my prints are there. And when you assemble the pantheon of patriots in this country,
Right.
my name will be engraved in bold letters.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the man, Robert Moncio Kpadeh. Folks, I can guarantee you we will always have him here because he has something in us, and that thing that is in him is for us, the Liberian people. So we will always ask him to
Absolutely.
share it because we will demand it from him. You heard him right there. He has been preaching, and that is my own description. He has been standing for or advocating for political righteousness in Liberia. But Monsieur, how is the homeland? You are there. We are millions of miles away. We can only see Liberia through your eyes. So tell us, how is the motherland doing?
I think the homeland is in despair. I think our country is experiencing its worst epoch or worst era politically or in terms of governance. I think misrule is off the roof. I think the excesses and the vices are marauding in a very, very rapid way. When I talk about excesses, I'm talking about rampant corruption or
Mhm.
public theft. I'm talking about partyism. I'm talking about cronyism. I'm talking about gross incompetence in the governing structure of our country. I'm talking about the insensitive of the regime. I'm talking about all of those horrible things that make a state plunge a state in despair. So I would say to you, contextually, our country is in total despair. Our people are subjugated to increased poverty. The economy is in shambles. The country is divided. Mr. Weir lacks the temperament and the leadership ability to be able to manage the country and bring and unite the country. So it seems, as it looks now, Mr. Weir seems to be the leader of one strata of the country. And that strata is Mr. Weir's CDC
Mhm.
and his friends and his business buddies. The mass of our people are subjugated to increase poverty. All right. They are grinding, bustling, and hustling to find ends meet. So this is horrible. So the state is in despair. All right. Governance is very appalling. All right. And you know very well of late, mysterious killings are taking
And
place.
Robert, that's what I'm
And
going to come to. So let us come to that. Let's start with the issues here. We are beyond time, and let's start with the issue. Let's talk about the deaths of the auditors. Robert, talk to me. Are these deaths out of the ordinary?
they cannot be out of the ordinary. All right. From
Mm-hmm.
all of the indications that we see,
Mm-hmm.
we believe, we will encourage that foul was played, that those very excellent people, wonderful people who serve our country with distinction in the role as auditors in the two or three different entities, those people were murdered. They were murdered in cold blood. So we need to dig deep. We need to go to the depth, ensure that we have transparent, independent, professional investigation now to establish who murdered them. All right. We see very, 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 very horrible signs. We see the sinister and the circumstances surrounding the death is very scary. And
so what are some of the signs and circumstances surrounding their death for which you are saying their deaths are not out of the ordinary?
I listened to the husband of Gifty, and let me express our solidarity and our sympathy and give our prayers to the bereaved families for the horrible loss and gruesome killing of their loved ones. I listened to Gifty, for instance. Listen to Gifty husband, Mr. Lama, on the T-Max show. All right, he expressed his grief. He said his wife left, went to work. All right, several hours later, someone else picks her phone. And when they call, the person picks the phone and say, "You'll see your wife the next day on Broad Street in the car." They came on Broad Street. They went all over. They took several hours trying to search for this woman. They would not see her. They would not see the car until 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning. He gets called from security authority and said, "We seen your car. We seen your wife's car, and we see her dead in the car." All right. He explained all of the issues like that around and how sinister it is. When he finally got to see his wife, he saw sand on her shoes, and he saw her being scrambled, saw laceration on the body and stuff like that. So that would suggest to you a woman who left work, or Mr. Peter who left his family, went to work, all right, and in the middle of the day, they would disappear. And in the morning, they found on Broad Street,
and
5 o'clock in the morning.
And so, all right. So, had there been any search on the call of the auditors to know who were the last persons they both talked to before their death?
My understanding was that they found the phones and the laptops. I don't know in who possession these items, who have these items, could be the police. And that's why, look, I would like to say to you quite succinctly, Anthony, we need to dig deep. We need independent investigators to come down here, to come from the U.S., to come from other sophisticated countries, to help us with this investigation. People's lives are very critical and very important to their families and even to the state. All right? We are talking about 4 people who serve this country, 4 people who are parents, who are daughters and sons of their families, who are wonderful citizens of our country. All right? We are on an obligation to stand by the families, each of us as citizens of this country, to lend our support and call on the government to dig deep. But we want the investigation to be independent, because when you listen to all of the explanations, all right, there's clear indication that power play, clear indication that the people were murdered. Okay, who murdered them? Is the $1 million question, all right, that we must take interest in as a country, as federal citizens, and dig deep into this matter. This matter must be given the independent depth of investigation and ensure that we find the killers or the murderers of these people.
And because look, talking about investigation, hold on, talking about investigation, Gifty and Abba were found dead, I believe, on the 2nd or 3rd. Today is the 23rd, so we can say past 20 days now. Our police, up to now, is yet to come up with at least a preliminary report as to what happened. Nothing like that as we speak. You are there.
And this is very unfortunate. By the way, I talk about this today. It's been over 48 hours since the government said it was conducted, even though the families of Gifty and Mr. Peters would not lend any attention to it. They said they're not going to observe it. They don't have faith in the process. They believe that this government does not have the integrity. They make specific reference to information ministers that try to misrepresent the people and downplay them and honorate them, telling the BBC that they are not auditors. And this is horrible. All right. This brings into question the government's own sincerity and genuineness as it relates to digging deep into this matter independently. When the information minister take on the BBC, all right, and misinform the world that these people were not auditors, they were ordinary professionals. I mean, professionals are not career. Career will be journalists, will be doctor, will be so the people work at higher level. We know Mr. Peters was an auditor, all right, for large revenue agency. We know Gift work in similar role. Yeah. We know the IAA boss was an auditor. We know Famboto was also auditor for large tax. For the information minister to be saying to the world that these people were not auditors, all right, it casts expression and brings into question the sincerity of this government. So when you begin to see the family now expressing fear and doubts and suspicion, all right, in whatever investigation the government claims, all right, it is conducting, they are right, all right. I too will express similar.
Robert, quickly, may I interrupt you? The family is yet to give approval to the government for the autopsy. My understanding is that if you do an autopsy, well, it may tell how they were killed, but it will not tell you who did the killing. So what is the government acting as though the only solution to the problem here is to determine how they were killed? Because there should be suspects. We're talking about past 20 days now. There has not been any suspects to be at least arrested. And while the government is yet to identify suspects or to be arrested, we saw the government through Judge Joe Manjala issuing a writ of arrest for Martin Kpadeh, who someone gave information that, well, this person may be responsible. And the government was so quick on its feet to issue the writ of arrest through the court. But as for people who we know to be suspects, there has not been any single action from the government to investigate them. Why?
It brings into question the character of this government. Okay, what does the government put interest? What does it put premium on? All right, rather than taking and putting premium on trying to go deep into this matter. Since the thing happened, according to Mr. Lama, the crime scene was contaminated. I mean, the cars, the two vehicles should have been picked up by a low bell, taken to the police station. Police officer reported the guy in the car. They drove the car. They contaminated the scene. So all of those things happened, according to Mr. Lama in the hospital of Kpadeh. That's one aspect. It's been over for the 8 hours since they conducted the autopsy, and we have not gotten any preliminary report. All right, the families are hurting. They are pain. They are in pain, horrible, immeasurable pain. All right. Martin Kpadeh is a very brilliant young activist who's standing for this country. We commend his courage. We commend his brilliance and his erudition and all he's doing, like me and all other pictures. All right, just lending solidarity to the bereaved family and seeking justice. All right, so it piques my imagination that rather than the government put the emphasis on what is more critical and germane, all right, as it relates to citizens who died in this country, the government is taking interest in going after Martin Kpadeh because he is alarming and asking some hard questions as to the independence, all right, of the entire investigation they're conducting and stuff like that. It says to you the character of this government, and these people are not even serious and putting emphasis on what they should be putting emphasis on. They rather think about going after people, chasing people into exile, and threatening them and stuff like that. All right. All Martin said, look, we want independent investigation. The people you have selected to conduct the autopsy, they are not forensic pathologists. All right. They are also government paid pathologists. They work for the government. You pay them. Some of them have got linked to agents of the government. Or if by the way, the two pathologists have got linked, relative link and extra links to the officials in government, and so it casts expression as it relates to the transparency, all right, that we attend this process. So Martin argued, like I argue, and many other persons argue, that in the spirit of independence, and property, it will be necessary to ensure that we avoid conflict of interest. Okay, you can be a suspect, or the fingers are pointed at you, and then you be the one now conducting the autopsy. Why don't you bring in independent pathologists from Ghana, from the state, from Nigeria, for the sake of independence, and to allay the doubts and suspicion and fear? It is just, for me, I think that would be the right thing to do.
That would be the right thing to do
for us to do, but the government is not doing that. Now, alongside all these suspicions and stuff like that, you listen to the narrative they are regurgitating, you listen to the information minister, you listen to other people and the things they're saying. I mean, as a rational person, you will definitely dig deep and begin to have some suspicion that these people, are not putting emphasis on the state. And we should take this very serious, because we cannot have a country, all right, and run the country like a jungle. We cannot have a country, all right, that cannot provide security for its citizens. We cannot have a country that will just pick up people, decimate them, all right, and then we cannot get justice. We want justice, all right. We should ensure that justice, all right, is given in this process, and so that we can bring this to closure. So we are looking and we hope it will not stop talking, it will not start demanding justice for the 4 auditors who have died in a very tragic way, in a very gruesome way, and we're going to give our prayers, a consolation to their families.
Thank you, Robert. And let me share this with our audience. We got a video, because what we're thinking now is that you would think that our religious leaders, people who should be the moral voices in our country, will be forceful. We're talking about 4 auditors, 4 professionals killed within a period of 8 days. And even Liberian people are scared. There's so much fear in the country now, and that you will hear from our leaders, but they are not. But we heard from a Nigerian clergyman who spoke fearlessly about what was more like a disappearance of leadership in Nigeria at the time. Let's listen to him and come back to you.
Right now, on the streets of our nation, young people are in the bedroom, the theater room, giving birth to a new Nigeria in the place of revival. And guess what? Our nation is about to miss a destiny opportunity if the leaders don't do the right thing. Let me tell you something. It may start as a protest, though. There is a Remy ghetto. Because these guys are already with that year. They're already entering that Remo. There is a Remy ghetto, armored tank with faith. I'm telling you. Because this is not old school fight, oh. This is social media. The whole world is watching. Then the question I keep asking myself is, where is our president? Vice president is apologizing. He's writing letter. Where is our president? Oga Buhari, Baba Buhari, President Buhari. What will it take you, sir? Dear Mr. President, what will it take you? Your children are on the streets. They voted you in. What will it take you to stand up as a father? Not as a president, sir. As a father. Forget people writing script for you. And just say, my children. Not fellow Nigerians. Not citizens of Nigeria. My children. We have...
All right, folks, we are back with you here. And again, this is Focus on Liberia here at the Hour of Politics. We have an exclusive with Robert Moncio Kpadeh on national issue. Robert, you were just listening to a Nigerian clergyman. He saw a leadership vacuum during time of crisis in Nigeria. Absolutely. And he spoke with that voice, that authoritative moral voice, calling on the leaders to do what they were elected to do. We don't have that in Liberia today, since the likes of Maka Kpakla Francis left the scene. Where are we, Robert?
Look, and let me say to you, I commend the courage and the bravery of that bishop or pastor. In the dialectics, we call this liberation theology. Pastors, imams should go to the pulpit, all right, and speak truth to power. They should rebuke the evil in society. They should stand for justice and slam injustice. They should frown on the debauchery of the state. They should condemn corruption. They should condemn misrule. So what you saw that pastor do in the dialectics, we call it liberation theology. You don't just go to the Bible and preach and make religious projection and make how do you call it and prophesize. You look at the issues obtaining in the country, because the people you preach to, they are your sheep, they are the citizens. All right, you are supposed to inspire them, and you should inspire them with the truth, with truth telling. All right, the public should be used to slam, all right, the excesses, not to convert the excesses in society. Yesterday, many years ago, or 35 years ago, we listened to Bishop Michael Francis. We listened to Bishop Brown. We listened to Father Tico. Those were moral voices of our society. Those were the moral consciences of our society. They spoke truth to power. They stood up aloud and spoke aloud. Their voices pitched to the mountaintop. And they said, we will not sit there and over our heads we see wrongdoings. We will not convert wrongdoings. We will not convert extrajudicial killings. Like what is happening today. We see mysterious killings. The Council of Churches is here to issue one statement. We now listen to individual bishops and pastors speaking and condemning this and calling for justice. It is left to us, who are the politicians, opposition politicians, and activists speaking. Look, in contemporary times around the world, America, Nigeria, other places, and that pastor is a symbol of that, a symbol of moral rectitude, standing up and saying, Mr. Buhari, Papa Buhari, in the face of this crisis, governance is lacking, leadership is lacking. The people have appeared on the street, spilled onto the street, all right, and saying, look, SARS has been very, 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 very devastating, is harassing our people, intimidating them, killing them. There's no justice with SARS. We do not want SARS. There's misrule. There's rampant corruption, all right, and other excesses and other debauchery. We want changes. We want the government to institute reforms in every sphere of the country. And that's what our pastor was doing. He didn't just only call the attention of President Buhari. He stood up, he raised his hands, and he said, end SARS, end bad governance, end misrule, end public corruption. Now, we are hoping, and specifically I put that video up, and I wrote something on that video saying, look at our country today. All right? In our country, we see injustice. In our country, we see rampant corruption. In our country, we see the debauchery of the state. In our country, we see a president, dancing zombie in the face of starvation. We see a president dancing zombie, in the face of misrule. And we cannot see any of our religious leader, be it imam, be it pastor or bishop, mastering the temerity to stand up and say, look, Mr. We are in times like these, in the face of misrule, 4,250 passports, all right, diplomatic passports, unprecedented, sold to drug ring, sold to terrorist ring, undermining national security, regional security, all right, and global security, and then demean our country and put the reputation of our country in total jeopardy, all right. Our leaders, our religious leaders are not speaking. 30 million allotted for stimulus package, all right, is in jeopardy, it's in fiasco, and we failed, the government failed, miserably failed to lend cushion to our people in the average, in the height of the COVID-19. Where is the money? We cannot get no explanation. There have been streams, all right, of thievery in this country, from the 16 billion to the 25 billion to the 10 million China Union money, royalty funds to the counties. All those monies disappear in thin air. Of late, they printed 4 billion to be used for our market. The money has disappeared. Now, it is our understanding that the executive now, all right, is in talk with the legislature to get new approbation, to get new approval, to print additional millions. But we do not have for account or had the 4 million disappear or had the 4 million was spent. So our country is in total despair, total misery, misrule, and our peace is on the verge of collision. Because I said, look, it doesn't even seem that we can even conduct free, fair, and transparent elections. There are a lot of, rough edges around here. All right, and we need to correct them. So I say to you that that religious leader from Nigeria is truly a man of God, because God urges us to stand up, to raise our voices, to act effectively and efficiently in the face of misrule, to stand up for the poor and the oppressed. That's what he's doing. He's not there going overnight and taking job and taking envelope like some of our bishops and pastors do here. Some now are in government. Some have taken position in government, which definitely undermine, all right, their independence, all right, and their religious standing to be able to condemn the wrong, all right, or slam the wrong or rebuke the wrong. So this is sad. This is very unfortunate, very despicable, very sinful.
Yeah, I like that you touched on this stimulus package. It's one of the things I wanted to ask you about, and it's good that you went quickly into that. But I have to ask the question, so our people have not received their ration as was promised by the government, and our understanding is also that it is the stimulus package that these auditors were also investigating. And I heard that, Newswire was one of those who was looking into that. And your newspaper, the Power newspaper, got significant information about that and reported that. And the editor of that newspaper is now being chased. My understanding is he's out of the country.
Absolutely.
What is going on here?
The first thing, the stimulus package now is a total fiasco. The man who led the effort, in person of Mr. Wilson Topic, who just got appointed, all right, to the EPA, from Commerce EPA, a man who has absolutely zero knowledge on environmental studies, now has been sent to run the EPA, but that's another thing we'll talk about later. But he just recently appeared to the Senate, and what he did was just explain, streams of garbage, all right, and give excuses. Now, we made a lot of mistakes here. We thought the WFP and stuff like that. When this thing started, actually, the OPRN wrote the WFP, and we said to WFP, look, in the spirit of transparency and openness and accountability, the agreement you have entered in with the Liberian government, knowing this government and its reputation, a very corrupt government, a disreputable government, a notorious government, what we want you to do is to please publish, if you don't even want to give the contract to the OPRM. We wanted to look in that contract, establish the terms and references in the contract, where they were buying the rest for, the quality of rest they were buying, the price of the rest they were buying, because we had listened before our letter, and that prompted our letter to Mr. Tappet, saying they had a chronicle of things that they needed to do to effectuate the full supply of the food distribution across the country. He was talking about the needed GPS. What do you need GPS for?
You need GPS in Liberia to distribute rice?
In Liberia to locate towns or villages, I don't understand. They needed warehouse, they needed this. So they had a list and stock with prices. We wanted to know how to derive the prices, the cost structure, the cost aggregate, how to derive the cost aggregate. All right. If you told me you want GPS for what? And then you put data, a data value to say, well, 50,000, 100,000 for GPS. All right. What do you need GPS for? You want a sensor. Look, we already have the Food and Drugs Agency in this country. All right. They have the model in place. They've been doing food distribution for many years. They have trained personnel. How come we did not use them?
So why actually stop this distribution up to this point? Because my understanding is that even some people in Negro Town who were flogged because of this very rice are yet to receive. The masses were flogged by security forces. A sister got brutalized. That video went viral. My understanding is she's even yet to get a single green arrest.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of conspiracy theories around this entire food supply. But I say to you much with certainty that we have gathered reliably.
Okay. Oh, folks, it seems to be okay. Go ahead. Oh, seems to be. Go ahead, Robert. I can hear you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. you know, so we are listening to all kinds of story and conspiracy theory. All right. But more importantly, all right, or primarily, is the fact that it's becoming clearer by the day that millions of dollars, all right, have landed in the pockets of those in officialdom who have been presiding over the entire supply. What are the key things here? Is there any supply? No. All right. If they argue that they've supplied the rice, can they say where they supply the rice? Can they say the counties are benefited? Can they say the quantity and quality of food they supply? Do we know where the rice were purchased from? Do we know the quality of rice? There were issues about there were reports of the price of rice. They claimed they paid $9 for the bag of rice. We got reports. So you see, we wanted the WFP Liberia to share with us so that we go into that document and understand what they will be doing. Secondly, we raised the issue with the Liberian Senate, knowing this government, all right, and the record of this government when it comes to transparency that is so dismal and devastating and appalling. A very corrupt government, all right, a government whose official greed compares to none, very greedy elements. To be able to give these people 25, 30 million to do rice supply and service the debt of market women in keeping with the stimulus package, you know, pretty good thing. But we said to the Senate, it's like giving a cash blanche to Mr. Buya and his co-host and his adherents, all right, and his kingdom of thieves. They are going to pounce on the money, as we know them as they are fond of doing. All right, the people have track record of thievery. All right, they have track record of you know, misdeeds. All right, and malfeasance. Why do you want to trust the people with such a money without putting any mechanism in place? They send a blunder big time, but because again the legislature is not a place of any only repeal. The very legislature, they are the ones aiding and abetting, conniving and colluding with this criminal government to continue to loot and plunder the country. So they will not put in place measures because at the end of the day, they get kickback. So look, it is sad. The legislature is this money performing. It has failed the Liberian people, all right, and lost its respect and the honorability of the chambers. So because that means that we are runs the country with free hands and does what he wants. What he wants.
So that whole stimulus thing about rice distribution, now it is safe to say was just a complete charade. Now, how could you ask your citizens to stay indoor, and you said it was a good idea, you know, for them to stay indoor, and you are going to provide rice for them? It's been 3 months. And you can't get the rights to the people, and we have a national legislature that will not act. Let's get to another thing here quickly, my brother. Another shortage of Liberian dollars on the market. I ran into an article on front page dated October 7, when the central bank governor appeared before the Senate, I believe. And he was talking that the reason why they are having shortage of Liberian dollars on the market, according to him, is because they have limited supply of Liberian dollars. He said, unquote, in other countries, they always have huge supply of their country currency on hand, so that when money get mutilated, they can replace them in no time. So talking about the $4 billion that were printed and brought in the country sometime in July, according to him, he said 37%, constituting $1.45 billion, has been infused into the market, but we don't see the money. So and he also floated the idea that they may have to print new money. So have we not learned anything, Robert?
Look, this is just sad, and again, this exposes how weak, how barren, how ineffective and inefficient, and so derelict, you know, this legislature is. By the way, they gave the approval for the printing of banknotes, 4 billion printed, brought in this country. This is just a total misery. We did not see the money. We heard about the money. The money was printed. I learned the user was behind the entire process. They funded the printing of the money, the cost. The money came into the country. It was announced. We did not see the money. 1 or 2 months later, we are now hearing the money has vanished. We didn't see on the market. We went to the banks. The bank did not pay us no bank note. We continue to struggle with mutilated Liberian dollars. All right. Now, the legislature has a committee called the Committee on Banking and Finance. That committee job is to ensure that the entire monetary aspect, fiscal aspect of this country, all right, is totally monitored to ensure that things like this do not happen. You know, this kind of shenanigans. You bring money in the country, the money get missing, and nobody asks questions, and nobody call to answer questions. That committee just sit there, all right, doing nothing, and at the end of the day, get salary, they get kickbacks, and nothing happening. This is a total tragedy, all right? The things that happen in our country in the 21st century cannot happen nowhere where there are sound people and human beings with great condition. This is just despicable and disconcerting. How can you print money? 16 billion came, it disappeared. We alarmed and went to court. Later, because the judicial system is corrupt and weak, what did they do? They said no money got missing. 4 billion came in the country. It was nice. We did not see no semblance of the money. All right. For the most part, if you saw few of that 500 banknotes, it will be atonement for the political rallies where they've been throwing money and dashing money up to people for votes. I mean, this is the country we have, a very disorganized country, a country where criminality is standardized. So we are in a total despair. We're in a total mess.
Talking about Thomas Fala distributing money, let me show you a video here quickly of Thomas Fala dividing money. So, folks, there you have it. That is the government candidate there, Thomas Fala, while Liberians are scrambling all over the place, can't find their own country money. Their money that they put in the bank, Thomas Fala got the bills, the big bills, and he's just giving that money to people. And let us not forget, Rabbi, Nathaniel Fallon Mangale was in Nickertown about a month ago now, and gave $2 million Liberian dollars. Where did Mangale get $2 million Liberian dollars from? This brother was just talking yesterday. What is going on? Look, so who has the money?
I mean, look, I tell you this much. What is happening in this country is a misery, is a complete mockery of nationhood, insanity to the height. I mean, a country where debauchery, all right, has been standardized or normalized. There's a new number. Peasants of yesterday, poor people, wretched poor men and poor boys, all right, clamor for power. They came on the backs of the people to get power. They said, Mr. We love the country. But they advance the what they call the proper agenda. The proper agenda, I always argue, is a socialist model. It was first advanced. The progenitor of the proper agenda was Captain Sankara. Go to Burkina Faso and see what he did, advancing the proper agenda. He put the emphasis on agriculture. He developed his country. He reduced the cost of running government, all right, from an exorbitant opulent star to a very low-class star. His ministers were renowned. He sold the Mercedes banks. He put the money in agriculture. He did not take room for anywhere anymore. He educated women. He provided education. He built the infrastructure. His country, by 1985, 86, Burkina Faso was a bread basket. Jobs were created. They got income, and because they were exporting food to other countries in the region, they generated foreign money. And what they did, it enhanced the balance of payment, and the economy was very vibrant, was very powerful. All right. The emphasis was placed on the people. Thomas Sankara took $400 as his monthly salary. All right. When he finally died, when he went in his home, they saw a broken freezer, 2 old guitars, and the car he rode was a little cheap Renault. All right. When they checked his account, he had less than $1,000. The contradiction here is that Mr. Weah is paid over 75,000 United States dollars. He has the fattest budget. His wife has a fat budget. Mr. Weah claimed to be a pro man. He claimed to be a son of Gibraltar. But what does he do? Mr. Weah has in his fleet, all right, very expensive, exotic gun-proof cars. How can a president who claimed to be from Gibraltar, who claimed to be a product of the common people from West Point, Soninwe, and Jonathan, will now be in 3 years, just in 3 years, riding over 7 gun-proof cars, very exorbitant cars that will cost around 500,000-700,000 a piece. This is a total contradiction. All right. So these guys did not come to the country on a people-oriented agenda. They're a bunch of political parasites. They want an opportunity to come and rob the country, leech on the country, gang rape the country, and they're doing that very effectively. All right. And sadly enough, very few people are standing and talking, and people like us who stand and talk, they want to take our lives away. That will not scare us into exile. That will not put us into silence. We will stand and fight for our country because this is a country we have. Things are very horrible back home. I said to you as a peace expert, all of the variables interplaying right now, actually, all right, are triggers of conflict, all right? The country is tough. Injustice is very hard. Travesty, very common, all right? The country divided. People are being witch hunted. Now we see mysterious killings, all right? The mass of our people are subjugated to the pit of poverty. Those are conflict triggers, all right? There is a theory in peace that is called the manifest resistance theory that says when you subjugate the people for many years, for long, there will be a point where the people will come together. They will unite. Don't forget, Che Guevara said the people are their own liberators. They think we are the liberators. No. All we do is just inspire the people and stand up. The people themselves will stampede into history. The people themselves are the liberators. They will stand up, they will write the revolution ballad, and they will sing the revolution ballad on a faithful Monday. They will sing it together, and they will sing in unison, and they will push to the mountaintop, and they're saying we are tired with misrule. All right? What is obtaining in this country is a total facade. The government system is a hoax, it's a fraud, everything is a mess. Everything is centered around this narcissist president who cares about himself and not the mass of the people. All right? It was a total mockery. All right? And I think Mr. Weah is one of the most dishonest and disingenuous person who said to the people he loved the country. 3 years on, the people can be the judge as to whether this man really loved the country. 3 years on, look at his governing system. What does it put emphasis on? It put emphasis on we are nice, meaning we are in his followers. We are in his poodles. Did not put the emphasis on the people in Yucatan, Soninwe, and Gibraltar, where he came from. All right? They put the emphasis on their lives. These are a bunch of kleptocrats, kakistocrats, all the one plunge the country, loot the country, plunder the country, and live in opulence. And the mass of the people live in total wreckage, poverty.
This is what you wrote today. And it is about 10 hours ago. You wrote this. You said, I think of political power as a huge opportunity to dignify people, honor humanity, not to defraud, dehumanize, and pauperize people.
Absolutely.
So my question is, can you contrast how you dignify, how you honor humanity,
so you see,
with how you defraud and dehumanize, and I'm talking about the Liberian people here, and how, where does the CDC, we are 12 government fit?
Look, now, so you see, so I wrote that like I do every day. I try to write something to just share my thoughts with the nation. When I say I see power as a huge opportunity to dignify human beings or people and to honor humanity. Look, I've read several theories, all right? I've read revolutions, I've read Fanon, I've read Che, I've read Fidel Castro, I've read Nelson Mandela, all their thought process, their revolutions, and the perspectives on power. I believe, with will and courage, Asani, When your people devolve power to you, the first thing, the greatest honor any politician can ever wish for and obtain is to be president of your republic, of your country. When your people in their millions, in their generality, devolve to you, unto you, the authority is the greatest honor. That honor must be harnessed to give in return to the people in a dignified way. Now, when you have power, what you do with power is to dignify people. And when I say dignify people, when you run this country, the emphasis must be placed on the people. You must harness the resources to address the issues that matter to the people. The structural imbalances that are obtained in the country must be addressed to put smiles on the faces of the people. All right? The healthcare system of the people. Our women can no longer deliver in safety in this country. All right? If a mortality continues to rise up because we do not have the quality of healthcare to be able to attend to pregnant women. All right? In case we are not vaccinating our kids as we should do it more effectively, efficiently, so that they grow up healthy and stronger. All right? And stronger citizenry, healthy citizenry is a vibrant society. We are not doing that. Our school system is a mess. Our people have not known dignity since the country was established. That's not only what we are. We are just an extension of the writing layer. When this country was established in 1822, 1847, it was established to only privilege the few over the many. It didn't create opportunity for all. It subjugated the mass of the people, all right, to the bush and to the forest and to the woods, all right, and the privileged few sat in Morovia, presided over the political power and the economic power, and denied the people, all right. So it was not a country established to be all inclusive, all right. Few pounds on the resources, few and subjugated the mass of the people. This continue onward. It only has gotten worse. Has gotten worse. So when I talk about dignifying humanity, is to show respect to your people, is to serve your people, the things that matter to them, is to treat them with respect. I mean, can you imagine? The people are grinding, they are bustling, they are hustling. We said we were giving them, Mr. Weah said he was giving them rice, oil, and beans, money that our country took on loan from the IMF. And while the people are hungry, and your commerce minister will go to the legislature and begin to just market gibberish to the Senate, all right, indicating that everything is a total halt and total fiasco. Mr. Weah will go on to dance zombie. He dances zombie in his church. He dances zombie to a market a delegation program. All right. It says to you, this is a very insensitive president who does not share in the plight of the people. All right. Who does not put premium on the people. And I'm saying when you have power, because no power is permanent. May I inform Mr. Weah and his adherents and his poodles, no power is permanent. We are seeing era fade away. We are seeing strong men fall on their forehead. All right? We're seeing regime change. And we're seeing new epochs come. All right? I said this to say to you, no power is permanent. Tomorrow, Mr. Weah will not be president. What will matter is Mr. Weah's history when he was president. What did he do? All right? Why serving as president? Did he serve humanity? Did he serve the people well? Did he manage the resources of the people? Was the resources, the resources of the country emphasized? Did they emphasize the livelihood of the people? Did they put emphasis on education for kids? Did they put emphasis on agriculture to create food security for the people? Mr. Weah will be judged. At that time, Mr. Weah will not even have security. The trumpet now will be blown behind a new president. So I said to Mr. Weah, go in your cocoon, go in your recline. You are halfway in your term, says your term, halfway. By this time, you should be reviewing policies instead of dancing zombie. The Liberian people are hurt, and this country is on the urge, on the verge of collision. And I will tell you why. An attempt to rig the election. We're already seeing the registration process saturated, fraught with streams of irregularities, streams of fraud and flaw, and those are conflict triggers. I have alarmed that, and I said electoral malpractices are potential conflict triggers that could plunge a country in civil unrest, all right, and move and tumble our peace. I have said that as a peace expert.
Thank you, Robert. Samuel Twer is the president, Kpadeh, someone who I believe advises him on economic matters. I will not bore you by asking that tell us how's the economy. We all know this sad story. But it's something that caught my attention that I have to bring to your attention. And I have a clip for you that was Samuel 12 lecturing us that the idea of trying to democratize a decision is a recipe for delaying development in our country. And I listening to that brother, I'm like, it's the brother on Pluto. But
Where this boy
let me
come
roll that clip. Let me roll
from?
that clip so you can listen and respond to the nonsense that was coming from 12's mouth. Let's watch.
Yeah, telling
Look,
you.
a benevolent dictator, meaning somebody like Paul Kagame, who alone can sit in the room and make a decision can change the country faster. This is what's happening in a lot of the Asian dictatorships where the benevolent dictator just say, okay, you know what, I don't hear the what the other people say in a view. I won't build that road and I'll put the money there. Because so now you say you want to build a road, so okay, do the land, everybody start democratizing the decision, then you slow. But we need tough decisions. So let's reorient this whole government. The president would have to have that resounding mandate for people to be afraid of him. So this is the mandate that you want to give him this December 8th. Look, a benevolent dictator, meaning somebody like Paul Kagame, who alone can sit in the room and make a decision can change the country faster. This is what's happening in a lot of the Asian dictatorships where the benevolent dictator just say, okay, you know what, I don't hear the what the other people say in a view. I won't build that road and I'll put the money there. Because so now you say you want to build a road, so okay, do the land, everybody start democratizing the decision, then you slow. But we need tough decisions. So let's reorient this whole government. The president would have to have that resounding mandate for people to be afraid.
All right, folks, there you have it. Your finance minister, he has tried all his economic theories. He tried harmonization. He tried something he called borrowing initiative. That was when they took the diplomatic heavyweights, the donors' money, without their consent from their account. And when he was pressed, he said that was borrowing initiative. He tried that economic policy, it didn't work. But Len Eugene Namwe have another description for that. He said that was Diho Coverho. And Seditian came to their rescue and said, this is not new. Ellen did that. And that is why they told us. And so Twe has tried everything. It did not work. And now he's asking Liberians that we should make our president a benevolent dictator. Robert, you are a politician. You are a man who believes in democracy. Democracy has proven to work. Where is Twe coming from with the dictatorship thing?
I think this is, I think Twe is just being obsessed with power, very saturated. It has reached the saturation level. And so he continues now to speak so appallingly. Our country is a democratic country. By the way, how much more power do they want? Because Mr. is already acting as a benevolent dictator. But the word dictator, whatever, qualification you put on it, it's a horrible one. All right? Our country has seen, autocracy. We've seen dictatorship. Some of us struggle for this democracy. All right? And now this is a contradiction with the Twe guy, who some years ago was under the Palawa hut, talking about democracy, talking about cheese. Today, Twe cannot even handle the power he has. This is the man who is the Minister of Finance. This man should be occupied, all right, with working the mouths and working ideas and doing stuff and hatching policies, all right, to build our economy. Because as it stands, we do not have no economy, all right? The indicators are very clear. To have economy, you can have basic things in place. No foreign direct investment yet, no money on the market, jobs are not created, and we're not generating serious revenue, foreign revenue to beat all our balance of payment. The economy itself is not in the cycle of flow. I'm talking economics to you now. So all of those basic indicators are zero, nothing working. So you don't even have economy yet. You know, don't listen to all the green projection. Oh, the economy will go 3.3, then 1 point. Look, economy, general country economy, you know, is anchored on basic things. All right, you have to understand. All right, are we generating foreign direct investment yet? No. All right, if we don't do that, can we create jobs? No. If we don't create jobs, can we give spending power to our people? No. If our people do not have spending power, can they save money? No. I'm telling you, economics now. I'm going to tell you, economics now. No. All right. Does our market work? No. Now, here we are talking about the fluctuation in the market, and we don't even have control over our currency. We do not have any economy yet. What we're doing here, for the most part, just begging the IMF, you know, that lending support, yes, lending support there. We're basically a donor-driven country. All right, we do not have no serious structural economic framework that is in place. All right, and economic activity is working, because those are the basic things that should happen in every given functioning, you know, wholesome economy. Those things should be happening. All right, we should see the country, people are basic, market operating, trade and commerce operating, and economic activities obtaining concomitantly across the country. We see foreign investors come. Foreign investors cannot come there because the government is disreputable. They are notorious. The place every day you hear reports of TV, you hear but no investor want to raise his money in a gangster republic, banana republic like this. So this boy should better himself. Now it is becoming clear, having been tried and tested 3 years on, that he's incompetent. He's unfit to be finance minister. He does nothing absolutely. But they consider him to be their bookman. Sad enough. Sad enough. Very sad enough. And this says to you the cognition of Mr. Weah. Weah's cognition. That's why we cannot continue to raise the presidency and leadership in our country. We should do everything. The presidency is the highest office. Whoever we put in our office or elect in our office, oh man, that person, all right, must be, oh man, one of our brightest minds. All right? Who knows what he's doing? He must go there, try and test it, go there with a temperament, has the equanimity, the well wisdom, all right, to be able to govern.
So, Rabbi, let's come to the CPP.
It's a man.
Yeah.
Yes. Governing republic is not for elected people, it's for educated people. So we must make sure that people who govern the republic are our best and brightest, so that we don't go there and be making these kind of horrible, disgraceful, you know, and shameful mistakes. So sad.
Well, that's the voice of Rabbi Moncio Kpadeh. He's the leader of the One People Revolutionary Movement. He's a writer, a politician, peace expert, and economist in an exclusive with us here that focus on Liberia. Rabbi, time is a little fast spent here, but 2 issues left for us. Looking at the recent government reshuffle, how will you classify that? Laughable?
Very laughable, but again, I'm not surprised because Mr. Weah appointment has not been of any, doesn't present a serious precedent. His decision very quite appalling. You know, how do you appoint a man who for a whole life has only studied and worked as an accountant into the EPA? All right, what emphasis do you put on the EPA? What's the policy, all right, for environmental, you know, advancement in our country? All right, we are signatory to environmental protocols. Does this man understand the ramification thereof? Does he understand the language? If this man went to international conference, environmental conference, what can he say there? Environmental now is a big economic frontier aspect in every country. Yeah. If you manage it very well, you can generate a lot of money. Listen to the debate with Trump and Biden. They took almost 15 minutes talking environment and how quintessential it is, and the potential of the environment if harnessed and managed properly. Yeah, you take a man who's literally a zero environmental expert and put him in the place. You talk about education person and make her commerce minister. What is she taking? Does she understand economic language? Does she understand financial language? Does she understand trade and commerce? What would she say when she went to the take another 1-2 years to learn the job and understand the language of the job and understand out of the nuances of the job, you don't want to do that. All right. You know, so I mean, the appointment is just so dismal. I mean, and we will see them how they go about it. But you know, it's just sad, man. It's just sad.
All
But
right,
this is
brother.
history.
Final
Mr.
question.
We took of his decision. I would say he told the nation he's not a good speaker, but his decision would be great. But I think his decision even worse. It better that even I think far worse than the kind of broken grammar he utter every now and then. Sad.
All right. Finally, the CPP, as the collaborating political parties, are saying to Liberians, they will protest. You know, the idea of protest, Liberians are divided on it. I am a protest guy. I don't see anything wrong with that. But those who have organized protest in the past, we have seen that when they show up, they don't show up like men and women ready to stand for what they believe in. You know? So should we trust these guys, the opposition folks, that they will hold a nationwide protest in Liberia? We have serious issues, and they seem to be playing chess with the Liberian people as well.
I think protest is a very critical tool in democracy. It's a very effective tool in democracy if it is done properly. I support protests, and I think there can be no other time, more than ever before. Our country needs a protest, but a very well organized, consistent, and persistent protest. All right. But a lot of things, and I always say to people, you know, I've been having conversations with friends, and I've been critical about protests. Not critical, not from the standpoint of wanting to have protests, but firstly, the people we want to rally in the protest. Our society is not a conscious society. All right? Our people are not robust, they are not progressive. Those are the people you want to rally in the protest. And this is why you see when we establish the OPRM, we establish OPRM basically because of that. What we want to do in the OPRM, what we started doing is to do what is to enlighten our people on consciousness. Consciousness is very critical. A society in which where the citizens are not conscious, they will not be able to move and even stand up for their own right. Now, when you are announcing protests because of the gullibility of our people, all right, and the lack of consciousness, all right, and that regiment is not there, that fortitude. You talk like Liberian people in the street, half of the day they are tired, all right. They do not have that intestinal fortitude and the fire, you know, in the belly and the courage to stay there and even stand before. Look at what the Nigerians were doing. The guys brought the AK-47 on their knee and shooting, and they defied them. In Port Harcourt, those boys were working, men, you know, women walking to the police station where the police, you know, were firing guns at them, firing shots at them, like bullets at them. Do we have our people wired like that? No. But
our people are even running away from water cannon. They're running away from water.
But is there a need? Is there a need, Anthony? Is there a need for protest in the face of the mixed rule and the consistent excesses of thinning, mysterious killings, corruption, stealing of the passport being stolen? The president is insensitive. The government is insensitive because incompetence. Our country just at the zero level, the economy horrible. Millions of dollars stolen, money meant for COVID-19, money meant for stimulus package, all reportedly stolen.
Four auditors
died mysteriously in a gruesome style and fashion. The country is panicking. Electoral process doesn't seem to be, it already seems to be rigged because there has been no model in place to ensure that the process will be transparent. Next, we found out, and I talked about that a couple of weeks ago, next, their registering case, you clearly see that are not qualified in terms of the age that the Constitution said 18, case like 15, 14, they got big adamant, they look big, you know, got money, and they win the register. So the entire voter roll is a mess. All right. They see people, file injunction on the process. The process is on temporary hold, but we need to visit that. You cannot walk up to go into election with CDC here. It's like walking yourself in the mountain. The voter roll is a mess. Then they get even messier and more with the registration of case in recent times. There was no money in place to ensure that those case to determine the reference age. So NEC is totally a piece of mess. All right. And we can the particular NEC that we have now to govern and manage election in this country. So we have, a litany of problems, that require international attention. And I think it's a good thing for us to stand up and protest. I'm concerned about the protest and the sources of the protest, the organization of the protest. All right. The mobilization of the protest. Look, to have an effective protest, a lot of things involved. The mobilization must be very effective. You must have the quality of people, all right, to effectuate that mobilization. I don't see that in place yet. All right. It's not just about announcing protest. Now, you don't want to announce protest, call a protest, and the protest fail. You are emboldening the government, all right, okay, and give them a new narrative. You don't want that, so you want to be very careful. So, look, the protests are good. It can be effective based on how you manage it and the quality of people you bring in the leadership aspect of it and how we can rally our people. Now, if you want to do protests, a nationwide protest, I'm listening across the country. I'm not seeing any mobilization yet. Even here in Monrovia, I'm hearing about the protests, but in terms of its massive mobilization, I don't see it yet. So I can speak as I speak to the, to the organization and the sources of it, but I do support the protests. By the way, we are protesting every day, except we're not jumping in the street. But I mean, if it's organized and they reach out to us at OPRN and we see the organization and we see the quality of work put in it, of course we will be part of it. We need to protest. This country is on a downward trend, spiraling downward in a very despicable, horrible way. It's so shameful that in this time and age you have this bunch of demons, this bunch of monsters presiding over the country. It's sad. It's sad. I cry for this country every day. It's sad.
All right. General, thank you so very much. We have taken an hour and 20 minutes of your time. That is
Yes.
enough. I think we got a lot out of you.